Hello, welcome to Animated Anarchy, where we take a critical look to animated movies, whether they be good, whether they be bad, whether they be somewhere in the middle, weird or misunderstood, or need a timeout, or whatever in between. We're going to figure that all out, and you get to listen to it. Aren't you lucky? I am Andrew Dickman, and once again, Michael is out for the week. He is still in New York, but he will return momentarily. And today, we are going to take a look at the 2000 movie Titan AE, a Don Bluth film. So, with me, I have animator, creator, voiceover artist, extraordinaire person. He is Chris Niosi.
Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Thank you for having me on the Animated Anarchy podcast, where we review animated movies that are good, bad, and directed by Don Bluth, which is whatever you want to define that as.
Yes, that was everything that I said, only by another voice.
And more blunt, probably.
Yeah. So how you doing, buddy?
I'm okay. I'm in your lovely house that's decorated with lots of cool stuff everywhere that I wish I had, or had the room for at the very least.
Yes.
Yeah, this was cool. Andrew, for those of you listening, approached me while Mr. Ruocco is indisposed back in our hometown of New York.
Yes. Undisclosed location.
Yes. And what did you and Rob Isa do last week? Which movie?
We did the Powerpuff Girls movie, which actually now that you bring that up, I have to make a correction. When I originally started the program, I thought it was made in 2000, which was weird because I thought on the IMDb it said 2000, but apparently I was wrong. It was 2 years later, 2002. So actually, the movie that we're going to be talking about today was made in the year that I thought the Powerpuff Girls movie was, which is 2000. And that is Titan AE, and
it shows that it was made in the year 2000. My God. Well, what was the other? Because you gave me two different options. I picked Titan AE because I thought it'd be funnier to talk about.
Well, I wanted to talk about a couple things. I suggested Osmosis Jones.
That was the other one. No, but if I knew you were going to talk about the Powerpuff Girls movie, I'm like, oh, damn you, Isa. That's one of my favorite animated movies of all time, but it's okay because we're gonna take the piss out of this.
Well,
movie,
it's
probably,
funny. It's funny that was Rob's one of Rob's most influential movies. I should say that the Powerpuff Girls the Powerpuff Girls itself was very influential.
Oh, so. It shows. Yeah, he's got good taste.
Yeah, but we're gonna be talking about a Don Bluth film. You know about Don Bluth?
I do indeed. I actually don't think I've seen every single one of his movies. I'm pretty sure I haven't seen Rockadoodle. I don't think I made it all the way through Troll in Central Park.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Those are all the greats.
Yeah. But no, Don Bluth is a great animator. And,
no, he is.
He's got some good stuff.
He's made some really. I mean, in the beginning of the 80s, I would say is where he was the most well known. And that would be like the start of An American Tail, Secret of Nim. What was it? The Land Before Time. I think those are probably his three most influential titles, and that's what everyone goes with when they think of Don Bluth.
Oh, you don't think of We're Back, a dinosaur story?
That wasn't Don Bluth.
It wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
I'll see you.
But it's funny. But it's funny that you bring that up because it's like a lot of people mistake that movie for a Don Bluth movie.
I completely thought it was his. Yeah, my bad.
I would say like that. I don't know who. I think it was 20th Century Fox. They were obsessed with dinosaurs ever since like Steven Spielberg and everything. I mean, Land Before Time was also. That was.
Was that Universal?
That was produced by Steven Spielberg.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So right. And you can tell that Steven Spielberg loves two things. He loves aliens, and he loves dinosaurs. So
yeah. No, it's so silly. I should have known because why would Bluth do the original Land Before Time and then do We're Back? That doesn't make any sense. So I'm clearly I need to turn in my animation.
You only get one dinosaur movie.
Just the one.
The
Land Before Time got about 700 and a TV show, but I mean those weren't those didn't have Bluth's thumbprint on those, as far as I know.
Yeah. Okay, so this is Titan AE. All right,
Yes.
so I'm going to read the back of the DVD here. A reluctant young hero holds the key to the future of mankind in the palm of his hand in this eye-popping sci-fi adventure. It is the year 3028, and the Dredge, a vicious alien race, have destroyed Earth. 15 years later, a young man named Kale learns he possesses a genetically encoded map to the Titan, a spaceship that holds the secret to the salvation of the human race. When the Dredge is in hot pursuit, Kale blasts off with the new crew at Valkyrie in an attempt to find the Titan before the Dredge destroy it. And that pretty much sums it up right there.
Yeah.
But we're gonna go through this movie as to best of our ability. I saw this movie in theaters. Do you have any personal history with this movie?
I'm trying to remember. I actually don't remember if I saw it in theaters. I might have.
You might have.
Yeah.
Because I remember you saying you had like vague memories of this movie.
I had very vivid memories of the trailer because they had the "Can you take me higher" like Creed like all over.
Oh my god.
And there were actually it's funny because I think I watched this again like in the last like year or two, and I didn't until we just watched a little while ago remember oh yeah, that was in the trailer, like should I get out and push and like all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, do we have a plan B?
I mean, all the great one-liners that usually come with every movie. I mean, this movie is just chock full of them.
Yeah.
You know, a
lot of Star Wars.
lot of very not a very memorable cliches.
Yeah, I mean, I do. You know what? I do think I saw it in theaters, and then I remember renting it. I did, because then I rented it for the first time years later on DVD and listened to the commentary on it, and saw the special featers and everything, which we also just took a look at.
Yeah. Well, we'll discuss that a little bit later.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
No, I saw this in theaters as well. I remember. It was pretty early on when this new theater was around where I lived. They newly built this theater. It was this was when I was seeing like almost every movie that came out during the year, and it's funny this movie. I can't say that 2000 was a very good year for animation altogether. Because what came out the same year? Okay, there was Rugrats in Paris.
Oh, good. Actually, I remember not disliking that movie. It was pretty alright.
Yeah, I just remember I just don't like Rugrats at all. But that's just a personal thing. Dinosaur from Disney came out the same year.
That's a great one.
Road to El Dorado came out. I mean, I actually like that movie, but
Yes,
at the
I
same
did too.
time, it's like these are all box office failures.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Emperor's New Groove also came out that year from.
Was that 2000?
Yeah, that was 2000.
No way, really?
That's what it says.
Wow, that doesn't feel like a 2000
No,
movie at all.
it really
It's crazy,
doesn't.
yeah.
But that I would honestly say that's one of the better movies that came out that year.
Yeah, no, for sure. And El Dorado was pretty good. Not like amazing, but I did like that one.
Well, the thing was like I remember really liking that movie, but everyone around me was saying it's like, oh god, this is DreamWorks trying to be Disney, and it's so boring and everything. And it was I don't really think it did very well at the box office, but there you go.
Yeah,
I mean, everyone has their taste. But now I think it's like a cult classic, honestly. I see a lot of people really always referencing it. They really love. They really just. I think it was a movie like too early.
It's very gifable. I still see the two guys like playing the guitar and
Yes,
doing
exactly.
the weird, goofy stuff all the time. So.
Yeah. So Titan AE 2000,
Yes.
20th Century Fox, and it's the last 20th Century Fox movie, animated movie, until they decided to go with Blue Sky Studios and just completely do CG.
Yep.
And this is also Don Bluth's last directorial movie. Sad to say, this is like I think this is where he just said like, you know what, I'm done.
That's really a shame too, because I mean, like I overall I really kind of liked that he was trying to go in like an even more mature kind of tone with it and stuff.
Well,
and,
that was the thing. It's like where Don Bluth was coming from. He wanted to be like the anti-Disney.
Yeah.
And while animation was really being helmed by Disney, it's like they had their. They had their routine.
Yeah.
You kind of know that was a Disney movie. And Don Bluth kind of went the other direction. It's like that's what I really liked about An American Tail and the Secret of Nim is that they were not so much. I didn't like them so much that they were dark, but I think that they were just a little bit more mature in their storytelling.
Yeah, they took some more risks. They weren't always like within the same formula over and over again. Like they definitely had like some cool inspiration to them for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess that's what he tried to get out of Titan AE again, because it's much more mature in the way it's storytelling. But somewhere between this movie and his 80s movies, he would try to do a little bit more Disney-esque. Like with Thumbelina and...
Oh, that's right. Thumbelina's another one I always forget.
Thumbelina and Anastasia especially. I think that was where he was like, okay, I'm done. I'm going to do a Disney-type movie, and we're going to see what happens with that. And that didn't really do too well. That came before this, and I think that movie actually did pretty well.
Anastasia? Yeah, I remember Anastasia was all right.
But it didn't do fantastic. That was the problem. Especially with this one. It's like... there is such high expectations for moviegoers, and especially for movie makers. Hollywood just looks at this and says like, "Oh God, this didn't make a dent." So let's just move on. So let's see. Let's go down. Just the story. It starts off in the year 3026. The 3000s. Just to make it a little bit more futuristic and timeless, I guess.
So Futurama's happening.
Yes, Futurama's happening.
It's canon.
Yeah, and I think it's safe to assume that Earthlings have learned space travel, because there happens to be like alien. Well, there's one alien.
Yeah.
There's one alien during the entire thing. Okay, this is all started off at Earth, and we're narrated by Ron Perlman, who is the professor who created the Titan project, and he is the father of Kale, who is the small child at this point. And while Earth is like very monotone and it kind of looks like the beginning of the Wizard of Oz movie, where it's like, and I think that's kind of where it's trying to go. It's like, there's this huge hurricane and something. I almost want to say like Earth was already on its deathbed before this alien race came to destroy it.
Yeah, it was very muted and very like kind of gross looking. Like like on its way out.
Yeah, so all this is happening. All the Earthlings are trying to get into these colony ships, which are going to shoot out into space, and I guess like. Just to keep in survival.
Yeah.
All the while, this alien ship, led by the Dredge, Drej, which I think throughout the entire movie it's pronounced differently. They want to say Dredge or Dreg. But
the blue people.
Yes, the blue people. the shiny blue CG people.
Yes, who look completely out of place in this like otherwise like beautifully 2D animated world, and they're just like, we're from Reboot, beep boop beep boop, and I'm like, oh, okay.
We're from Reboot.
Yeah, we're from the planet Bob, ironically.
Yeah. Well, this is really funny because it's like I want to say they don't really explain very well why this alien race wants the human race dead. Ron Perlman basically says in the beginning of this, the Dredge thought that we were, we made atomic energy and now we're trying to go too far into the future and we're going to create another weapon, or because they suggest that this Titan project, which is essentially just to make a new planet, we find out later. I don't really know if it was suggested in the beginning that it was to create a planet, but near the end, it's like you get that sense like, okay, they're just trying to make a new Earth.
Yeah, which was a cool idea, and how they like set up the whole kind of, I guess, way the creation of a new Earth would go, with like the kind of DNA of the different animals.
And I gotta be honest, like I would, my suspension of disbelief actually. I would believe that there is this kind of technology in 3000.
Yeah.
Not like, 20 years from now, which is how usually a lot of movies go.
Yeah. But it's funny because regarding the energy guys, the Dredge, like, Whenever I see stuff like this,
Mm-hmm.
more often than not, when it's inspired by like a Star Wars type of universe,
Yeah.
with just like lots of different races and planets and like crazy technology which we were joking about all the science mumbo jumbo talk.
Oh yeah,
later.
they do a lot of tech jargon
Yeah.
that is mainly known from like Star Trek or Star Trek Generation mostly.
Yeah.
That whole data speak.
Yeah,
We're gonna take 30 parsecs to the next Tringon or whatever it is.
Yes, yes, Captain. I'm taking us to the Splatoon Galaxy, and I'm like, what are you talking about? What? But no, but what I'm saying is a lot of those types of things inspired by Star Wars, Star Trek, etc.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like there is a lot of thought put into like the universe building and having all this backstory, but when it comes down to now we have to actually put it into a story context. So what do we have time to show? What is important that we need to show?
Yeah.
And then like by the end product, not everything always gets like across.
Yeah.
Or if it is, sometimes it's very like subtextual or only through like a really quick line or whatever. I would bet good money that they probably had a whole like their whole, that this is the history of like why the Dredge were like something like they're energy people, and like it's supposed to be a metaphor for how like humans abuse their resources and blah blah blah.
Yeah, but there's nothing like that in this movie. There's no like connection as to why the Dredge really hate or despise the humans. It's just that they were afraid that we would do something terrible.
Yeah.
So are they like space police? Because later on in the movie, it's like they no other alien seems to be really threatened by them. I mean, they're like another race in this entire vast universe of whatever we created, and these things just they come into like a colony, like policemen. It's like they're looking into this bar and we're looking for something, and we have to either take him in or destroy him or something like that. It feels weird to me. Like they seem more like a threat in the fact that they destroyed Earth, but their reasoning for it seems very flawed, and they don't really go into details very well about it.
There's something about the Dredge I want to go into when we get up to the part about the real antagonists, I guess, in a bit.
Right. Yeah. Well,
what happens next, Andrew?
Well, anyway, so the kid, the kid Kale is taken to a ship along with his alien friend, and his father has to go into the Titan. He's sent off into space somewhere else where the Dredge can't find him. And by the way, this kid is voiced by the kid from Home Alone 3.
Yes, who is also one of the 5 kids who played Arnold from Hey Arnold, apparently, which is what I mainly know him from.
Yeah, and I don't know. When I looked that up, I thought that was really funny.
And then also, the Tech, the little fat mole alien guy, thought looked like something out of Sonic Sat.am or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He was
Tone Loc.
Yeah, and in the beginning of the movie when he's in the ship, like the little like cruiser thing with them,
mm-hmm.
he doesn't sound like him at all. And then when they flash forward, he's like, "Hey man."
It's like they couldn't find him after he did his lines for the beginning part, and like they had to get someone else to kind of fill in for him.
Or maybe he just sounds like a totally different person when he has to a Wizard of Oz like storm going on.
Yeah, I have to wonder if that's his natural speaking voice.
Yeah, I could not tell until like the later part when he was like, "Yo man, take care of the kid."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're a crazy kid, Kale.
Oh no.
I'm gonna eat you for the day.
Yo, hey, stop talking out of your butt. Stop talking out of your grill.
I'm gonna.
God almighty. Sorry, Tone.
Yeah, but So fast forward, the Earth is destroyed, which is a really grim visual. Actually, when you look at it, it's like that's pretty terrible.
Yeah, you know, whatever. Dragon Ball Z did it first and better. Whatever, guys.
Well, it's like the thing is, it's very realistic looking in an animated movie, and like they try to go for some realism, even though it's an animated movie. But I don't know. It's just that really kind of hits you, especially. I think I remember in the theater looking at that and was like, oh my god, that's a horrible thought.
I'm sad now. Cut to 15 years later. Oh, good.
Oh,
man.
yeah. It's like immediately it just cuts to 15 years later. Kale is now 19.
Yeah.
And he is a space junk junkie or just space. I don't want to say junkie. He's not like on drugs or anything, though he could be, very well be.
Yeah.
But no, he's like a space junk collector.
He smokes space weed.
Yeah. Hey, let's go to the space bar to have some space weed and get space high.
Yeah.
Space.
in our giant mech suits, walking around like Tommy Pickles.
Yeah.
If you get
that's
if you get it, you get it.
That's well, that's another thing. The spacesuits that they're wearing are in CG, while the characters' heads are in. There's a lot of CG, like I would say experimentation, even though it's been pretty highly known that CG was starting to get bigger and bigger.
It looks like a really good like GameCube game at best, like. Which, I mean, GameCube had some very impressive graphics.
For its time,
sure.
I'm sure it was very impressive.
Sure,
but
yeah.
it does not... I mean, it's really noticeable now. That's the thing. I noticed that they tried to kind of pull back on the frame rate with a lot of the CG that they put in. Just to kind of like meet up with the standards of the traditional animation, but sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes the CG is just way too slow, and sometimes it's way too fast,
or like smooth looking.
Yeah, very smooth. It's like sometimes it's filmed on 3s and sometimes it's on 1s.
Yeah,
but I mean it's not very distracting, but it's noticeable. That's all I'm gonna really say, because like I was hoping to come back. I wasn't really hoping, but I was expecting to come back and watching this movie and saying like, oh God, the CG is like, it's so terrible. But actually it really isn't. It's not, okay, the blue aliens definitely don't fit anywhere in this movie.
Yeah, like their actual designs are like kind of cool, but because of the way that they're animated, they just don't fit.
No,
with, like,
they don't.
Anything. And maybe that was the intention, but I
don't know if that was the intention, because
it could have been.
They're like, okay, they're glowing blue beings and they cast shadows.
Yeah,
that's weird.
Yeah,
that was, I don't know if that was like intentional or if that was a mistake.
Maybe they left it over from like a previous stage of animation.
Maybe.
Or something.
I have no idea, but at the same time, it's like that's the most distracting part of this movie, and I honestly, the rest of the CG kind of fits rather well for what it is. But so we're in this new spaceship, and Kale is a 19-year-old space punk that does not really, he's not with society or anything. He just doesn't really care. He thinks that he's better than everyone. He cuts in line. Like, ooh, he's a real rebel. And he's talking with Tech, who is blind now. I want to know how that happened.
Was he blind?
He was blind. They even mentioned it during the talk. It was like, did you see that? And he's like, no chance in that. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty insensitive of Kale first off, but
if this guy was like your like surrogate dad while your actual dad went off and died, I guess it's like
they've probably been together for a while now, so I think there would have to be some sort of sensitivity there. But so he's talking to his blind friend, and they're in this lunch room, and they're eating this slop, and they're just basically talking about human history. Like you should have been studying up on your human history, and I don't know. I guess we were trying to get a sense that he's like a rebel and that he's like really just aloof and doesn't care about anything.
And it's like, man, we really hope that you like our main protagonist.
They really hammer in the fact that he does not like his dad. It's like
which, by the way, okay, so I guess we're kind of jumping back and forth.
We will.
So the dad, because we missed this. So the dad gives him a ring in the beginning part.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And the ring is this big plot device because it is a map.
It's a map
to the Titan ship that the dad builds and leaves behind, and etc., which we were talking about. Mm-hmm. So what does he say? Is like, as long as you have this ring, there's still hope.
Yeah, there's still hope for humankind.
And it's like, okay, cool. So if he hates his dad so much,
why does he still have that?
Wouldn't he have like, I'm just gonna pawn this off for some gold or whatever? It's like,
because he really is intent on just being like, I need money. That's really all I'm here for. It's time to get rich.
And like spoiler, he gets over all the crap about his dad pretty quickly. Like after he meets some of the other characters,
he pretty much does.
So I feel like was that necessary to make him like, man, screw my dad? It's like you could have just been like, oh, my dad, maybe he's still out there somewhere.
I think
or whatever.
that's just to
like,
make him seem more like a rebellious punk.
Yeah.
You know, which was a really big thing at the time. You know?
I guess so.
It's like trying to, especially with like, you know, Terminator 2, it's like the main character is like very, it's like this young punk, you know, and then all of a sudden something happens and, you know, his world crashes around him, you know. And I think that's what they were trying to go with here. This is like your typical 90s sci-fi adventure.
American protagonist type character. Yeah.
So, well, we didn't mention Kale is voiced by Matt Damon.
Matt Damon.
Which is...
He did all right. He did pretty all right.
No, he did okay.
Sounded a little Asian appropriate, but I mean, you know, animation, whatever.
I don't know. It's just, there's something about him that he comes off really monotone to me. Like he's not really trying at some points. Like when he yells, it's like you hear like this crack in his voice. Akima! Yeah, especially
what am I fighting for? Sorry, it's because I'm surrounded by Mega Man things.
Yeah. And it's like this character is actually more boring than the acting of Matt Damon, honestly. It's just there's something about him that's just so plain and
I've seen worse. I've seen like more boring characters, but he wasn't like anything to write home about.
No, he wasn't. I think he did have like a bit of a more strong personality later on, I suppose, but at this point it's just like why should I care about this guy?
Yeah,
you know, he just seems like an asshole.
It's funny because we'll get to Akeem in a bit, but before that, then Captain What's His Face comes in.
Captain Corso, voiced by Bill Pullman, comes in to rescue him from some aliens that were going to kick his butt in the back alley of this junk ship or something
like that.
Yeah, and so he saves him and basically gives him like the whole spiel about we're gonna save the universe, kid. There's like humans all around us. I don't really think you understand that life for us humans needs to come back somehow. We need to survive, and you're the key to it. So, and this guy was in the beginning too, like very briefly.
Yep.
It's just to connect the whole thing together, but
I feel like the scene where he comes in and he kind of is like giving this kind of speech to Matt Damon.
Yeah, Matt Damon.
Can't even remember the character.
I can't even watch this movie without thinking about
Matt
that.
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon.
I feel like that scene could have been a cool bit of establishment in the beginning.
Yeah.
And especially because then we learn in the following scene that apparently Tech, the little mole guy, like he knew him or like what we
it's like they meet together and he like immediately recognizes his voice or something. It was like, hey Corso, I expected you to get this kid off my hand earlier.
Yeah.
Like didn't like the
I feel like if they had maybe paced things out, maybe if they like kind of crossed the scenes together or something.
Yeah, because that kind of goes by really fast. He shows up, tells him what to do, and then Matt Damon leaves. And then they meet up again, like almost immediately, and that's when like Dredge come back, and they're like in the lunchroom and they're shooting up the place. Oh, by the way, you know that cockroach chef?
Yeah.
That's Tim Brewer.
Oh wait, no, who is that?
Tim Brewer. He is. I know him from what's that movie with Dave Chappelle?
He was pitched up too. I think they like electronically pitched him up a little bit.
Yeah, no, that movie about like getting high. I can't remember. It's like with Dave Chappelle and him. You don't remember? Somebody out there is probably yelling out this title of this movie right now. But anyway, that's Tim Brewer, and they really like pitched up his voice to make him even more annoying.
And you could tell he was like ad-libbing.
He was ad-libbing, but he was a terrible ad-libber. I
hope they sue you and I'll testify in court.
Yeah. Oh, it's like he was trying to think of things to say while he was ad-libbing. So yeah.
Okay, can we get that again? No, Tim, you're good. We're just going to use that. It's already in the movie. We're gonna ship it out.
Well, anyway, he gets like shot. The Dredge shoot him like immediately when he's like trying to point him out where Matt Damon and the other guy went.
Captain What's His Face.
Yeah, and I think that's like the first grim death I've
Don
seen
Bluth
in
movie. Well, no,
not a
been
Don
death.
Bluth movie. And
It was
like
a very comedic death, but only because it looks disgusting. Like he just exploded in like this green.
Well, he's
goop.
like a bug. He's like, if it was a human death, it would probably mean more.
Yeah,
but since he's a bug, it's fine.
What do they? No, they insert. You can tell they like added it afterward. Where he goes like bullseye.
Yeah.
As he's like he's already dead. And
it's
just
his
like
teeth.
so the little dentures like pop. It's like yeah, because bugs have dentures. Okay, and he goes bullseye, and I'm like, oh man, that was clearly meant to like go up against the disgusting looking gross death. But
yeah. And there's this big chase where they're in this ship within this junkyard thing, and they're running around being chased by these blue aliens, and then all of a sudden they're outside. Like they go through this docking station and they shoot out from the end of it, and they're about to become one with the vast universe as the glass on the ship starts to crack. And when I was watching this in the theater, this is where this movie lost me. I mean, this is seriously the moment. There's a lot of things where you can get lost in this movie, but this specifically, this is where I knew I was like, okay. I mean, I'm a teenager. I don't really know a whole hell of a lot about space, but I sincerely doubt when you exhale and go outside into space, you would still be alive.
No. No.
So they're basically going from this cracking spaceship to the other spaceship, which is their Voyager, the Valkyrie or whatever.
Yeah.
And they go. It's basically half a minute where they go from this ship to the other ship, and basically the guy says like exhale, kicks out the window, and they're floating into space.
And then they just get picked up.
Yeah,
by
and then
the Motley crew.
Yeah, and then they're knocked out. And then the next scene happens where it's like, okay, they escaped, everything's fine.
And then we get introduced to the rest of the colorful cast of characters.
No, the ragtag team of space banditos. I don't know.
of space assholes.
Yes. And Nathan Lane, who is Preed, he's a tall, lanky alien creature that really is animated pretty well compared to everything else, which is like very, very rotoscoped, honestly.
Yeah.
I want to go to the rotoscoping for a little bit because I feel like they had all this acting prepared, but then the heads were just kind of came afterwards. They were like afterthought. Because sometimes it's like their heads, when I was watching this, their heads are kind of look like they're not even attached to the rest of the body. It's like they kind of go all over the place. It's like their hand acting is not moving with their head direction. And have you noticed any of that?
I didn't pick up on that actually, but like I could believe it because mainly because the face designs, which is kind of what it comes down to in like a more realistic kind of setting.
Yeah.
Like because that's where you can really tell like where the style is coming through. They I remember when I was listening to the commentary the second time I saw this, they were talking about how they I think that they said that they wish like they kind of went back and made the humans a little bit more like anime looking.
They probably wanted to make them more stylistic.
Yeah, because they seemed like, I don't know how to describe, like the Anastasia and Titan AE style that Don Bluth and his crew developed, like it's interesting because it's like, it is kind of realistic. Like the eyes are very small and like more normal. They're not as cartoony and like, I don't know.
There is there is some appeal to their design, but when they're moving, it's not really that. It just doesn't really seem right to me, and I really feel like that was a detriment when they used rotoscoping because you kind of lose that that sense of illusion. You know, like the illusion of movement when you make things a little bit too realistic. So it's like when you do that in traditional animation, it's kind of like you need to go either way. You need to go either realistic or you need to go with this stylistic movement. And I feel with all the aliens, which were very cartoony, and you pin them against these humans, which, you know, let's be fair here. They're supposed to be humans. They're supposed to be relatable, and the way their realistic movement it just doesn't really fit with the rest of these this universe that they were trying to create.
Yeah, I mean,
I think that, yeah, now that I think about it, that might have been the reason why maybe they wanted to have the humans be a little more stylized. I don't know if like maybe what exactly was holding them back from that, or why they went with the look that they did. But I mean,
But yeah.
it doesn't like, it doesn't distract so much from the general experience that it's like it's horrible. But I
there's
think
nothing really special to it. That's the thing.
it's
like,
very forgettable.
Yeah, it's like it's not really that memorable, and the fact that what we're looking at is not something that you could really root for. It's like it's really hard for me to say, because for some people it's like I know that they like more realism in the animation, but for someone like me who likes to see a little bit more acting with their animation, it's like I see that more with the alien characters. And I really like the movements of this Preed guy, because he's so tall and lanky and very slick in his look, and his mouth, of course, like all the mouths in this movie are so Don Bluth.
Yeah,
it's
no,
like
100%.
I mean, you can tell a Don Bluth animation just by
the mouth movements.
Yeah, but no, Preed and what's her name, Stith, the Angaroo,
the Angaroo,
as we called her.
Oh God,
they had the biggest
the
biggest Don Bluth mouths.
Yeah, they do. But this thing about Stith, voiced by Janine Garofalo,
good choice.
which is really. Yeah, that's it.
Didn't look like it could fit at all.
No,
I don't know.
She didn't really seem like she was trying all that hard with it. It's just like, what's the angriest woman we could get right now? And Janine Garofalo. Let's go with her. And that is the most awkward creature in this entire movie.
The square legs.
It's like the legs take up basically a huge portion of the room already. And then you have, like, I feel like they could have toned that down a little bit. They were trying a little bit too hard to make her alien. And I think, like, with the face and everything, it's like, yeah, that's understandable. You can give her, like, those segmented legs. But that was a little overdone.
She looks like the long leg and the long arm tribes from, like, One Piece.
They gave her, like, four knees. 4 knees on each leg. It was amazing. It's like I can see why they didn't want to animate her a whole lot, just because of the space that she was taking up.
Well, she would have made a cool toy, maybe.
We also forgot to mention that Akima,
yes,
the character voiced by Drew Barrymore,
who was I think actually she and Nathan Lane, I think, were the best on the cast, like, performance-wise.
Yeah, I would say that, though I still feel like Drew Barrymore was kind of like she wasn't really trying very hard. And not only by the fact that she was like, she's playing a Chinese character of some sort.
Yeah.
Like she's, like I don't mind if you voice cast outside of someone's nationality or something like that.
Sure.
They have to at least sound remotely like the character. And do you feel like there was some sort of connection between Drew Barrymore's voice and what Akima was?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, for some reason, she kind of, because I mean, all the human characters are pretty like low key and like realistic and normal. But they stood to be boring sometimes, because like Captain What's His Face was pretty like, hey there, kiddo, and then
he was definitely like the Han Solo.
Yeah,
sort of.
like Han Solo.
Solo General.
Diet Solo.
Yeah, he was like he was certainly like ex-military.
Yeah.
Piece of dirtbag.
like a AWOL military guy.
Yeah, and now he's like a space drifter.
And then Matt Damon was just, I mean, we talked about like his kind of like already.
Yeah. I don't know, Akima, for some reason, I feel like Drew's performance and the way they animated her and her design, like the kind of short hair and everything, like everything with her kind of like fit well enough and made sense. Part of me almost kind of wishes like, because otherwise she was just kind of like, I'm also here, like all of the key scenes, like it was
I'm
was
also
her.
here.
Yeah, no,
yeah.
seriously,
I get that. It's like, oh, I'm also a character that is in this movie.
Yeah, like in fact, they in some ways they could have almost like either they could have cut either Damon or Akima I'm just gonna call him Matt Damon. Sorry, everybody. Kale. Sorry.
Yes.
They could have just
Kale, like the vegetable.
Yes. Or like Story of Kale by Kevin O'Clolo. Anybody remember that? No.
Yes.
But I think that they maybe even could have just. And this is a trap I've fallen into where it's like, let's just have lots of characters and they're all cool and they have their own thing. It's
like I was saying, the ragtag group, which is like, let's get a bunch of different. Let's get as many personalities as possible into one sort of group so we can get all of the different elements into this. While it's like, I don't mind that, next we're introduced to John Leguizamo's character, which is Gune.
Yes.
The name that they say the most in this damn
Gune?
movie. Gune.
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 Goon's your daddy.
Oh, God. No.
Oh, sorry, I'm skipping ahead too much. Yeah,
Goon's your daddy.
Goon's your daddy. John Leguizamo, you really are a god to us all. Yeah.
That's...
Oh, I realized, hey, Sony, right? Didn't they?
No, Blue Sky.
Well, no, but Sony produced this, was it? No, Fox did. What am I saying?
Well, yeah, because that actually...
there.
No, you're right, because the connection to Blue Sky, which is 20th Century Fox's next
it is
animation
Fox.
studio.
Right. Okay.
So it's Ice Age, and they got John Leguizamo.
Maybe they were just like, oh, he was really funny in that space movie that Bluth directed that nobody cared about. Let's just get him to be the sloth.
Yeah. Oh my.
I mean, it's very humanly possible.
Yeah. John Leguizamo's in this, and you know what? He's not
bad. He seemed like he was trying. I think the fault more was that this character was the Slippy.
Yeah.
Of the
He's
thing.
the Slippy Toad.
But he wasn't endearing. He was just like, I'm here also. I'm nerdy and uncomfortable. It's stop talking.
Yeah,
he
he definitely has like this air of social malfunctioning. Yeah. Where it's like he starts licking people's hands, and then he's like way too close, and he starts like babbling on about certain things, and it's like
but he has a heart of gold, Andrew.
Yes, he's the frog with a heart of gold.
I feel like okay, hear me out. Now that we have all the cast established,
yes,
I feel like if I'm gonna say if Akima were the main character, if she were the daughter of the person who made the thing or whatever, and they scrapped Kale, right?
Right.
And then if Janine Garofalo, Stith were given a little more screen time, a little bit more development,
yeah,
Preed was left alone. Captain maybe was a little less obnoxious, and then especially if crap.
Kale?
No.
Oh.
Say his name. This is how forgettable the movie is. If Gune, if Gune,
really?
If Gune,
you forgot Gune's
that's
name?
how forgettable this whole movie is to me. I'm not even joking. If Gune was significantly less obnoxious, I feel like it would have been a solid like 5 is a tricky but good
doable
number of main
it's
characters.
Been done. It's been done, and it's
completely.
Like, and when characters are given their due moments, like I feel like they were trying to give them their due moments, but it just didn't work, especially for the Janine Garofalo character, because it's like she's also another character where it's just like, oh, she is also
I'm here too.
She's our weapons expert, and we need a weapons expert, and that is our weapons expert.
Yep. Yeah. But if they balanced it, like if they, you know what, if they had made like say if the one human character was Akima, and she got to like be kind of palsy with like. With Gune, I keep almost wanting to say Groot because of the way they spelled his name. If like Gune and Stith, like they got to like if like
there wasn't really
they got
a whole
to know
lot of
them a little better.
There wasn't a whole lot of interaction.
No, it was.
It almost seemed like she didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
Because in the beginning scene where she's introduced, she's talking to this Preed guy. The Nathan Lane character, the tall, lanky one. It's like he's kind of like this creepy. Right off the bat, he's creepy and tries to like hit on her, and
then that is never revisited. I didn't catch that all like 4 times or whatever I saw this movie in my life. I didn't catch that until like
it was
just then.
It was just like character banter that really didn't add any character.
I must
whatsoever.
have you.
Yeah.
As he tries to like scooch up her hand, looks like, what are you?
Yeah. It was very creepy and did not really fit with the rest of the.
Anything.
Yeah, because it wasn't brought back, and I almost feel like Akima had no connection with the other 2 aliens either. No. It was like she wasn't even in the same vicinity whenever they were talking.
It felt like they were in different movies.
Yeah, Matt. Yeah, You're right, because like Matt Damon, whenever he would interact with the Gune, and it was always with Creed or the captain.
Yeah.
It was never with other characters. It was just like those three were the only ones that could fit in that room. So let's have that. Let's have that scene with them.
It's funny what I'm thinking of now. This is kind of a weird comparison, but I think about a lot of like long running anime shows that have like a big cast of main characters,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And like, okay, like Pokemon has been going on forever, right? And they've had 3-man groups, they've had 4-man groups, which they're doing right now. They have one on X and Y, and it's much more balanced compared to the first time they tried that, where like everybody has like a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And then even like Inuyasha, which like people understandably have like the biggest hate boner for like the story because of how awful it was executed. But the reason that Inuyasha worked so well, why people loved it so much, is because that group of those 5 characters, and that's still a lot, especially for a TV show. That's a lot of characters.
Yeah.
On a main group that are always there in every episode. But they balanced them out well, and they were all likable. They all had their own, like, important purpose.
Yeah.
With this, it's like, and of course you're going to have more emphasis on some than others. Like, that just always happens.
It's also really different for a TV show, especially because you have more time.
Of course.
Well, with this movie, it's like if you introduce characters, you're going to have like a lot of extra space. And I feel like they kind of wasted that on like a lot of moments that didn't really seem like they needed to be drawn out or established. We'll keep going on, but anyway, they find out, okay, this ring that Matt Damon is wearing.
I've got you doing it now. You're just calling him Matt Damon.
Yes, well, I
infected you.
might as well.
Yeah.
So the captain takes this ring, and he takes a pen and starts clicking on these very obvious buttons that are in the inside of it, and starts clicking them, and puts it back on his hand, and he says there's a genetic code that puts a map on his palm, and that is supposed to direct them to where they're supposed to go. And, okay, suspension of disbelief. I will believe this just because of science, mumbo-jumbo, futuristic space, whatever. I do not believe, though, that he looked at that ring his entire life and did not notice those buttons.
Or at least didn't, like...
Because
I'm sure
he's also very tech-savvy.
Yeah, I know, that's the other thing, too, is, like...
They make it a note that he is smart in science, and that everything he fiddles with can do something it doesn't normally do.
Yeah, which he does multiple times throughout the movie, and yet with this ring that has these little rainbow-ass buttons...
He just pushes a couple buttons!
Yeah, and then the guy takes like a pen or something, and he's
right.
like, and like, if there was at least some, like, oh, I know the right code you have to punch in or something, just something, it's like, oh, wow, okay.
Yeah. It would have been fun if he says, like, what? I don't know what this ring does. It's like, hey, could you figure this out? Or I haven't figured out the specific combination. You're right. That could have been a factor. But to tell me that he never noticed that his entire life, especially how tech-savvy he really is, it doesn't make any sense.
It's a little bizarre.
But anyway, this is supposed to be our big map that takes us to wherever the hell they're supposed to go, which is
Let's set sail for the Grand Line of
the
cosmos.
Yeah, so they head off to this planet, which is filled with helium-filled or hydrogen-filled balloons. And they meet up with this alien race who they say are this alien race that is, they look like bat.
Oh, the towel.
Birds.
Yeah, they're like the towel or something.
The towel.
The towels.
No, yeah,
yes.
Yeah, the towels. They're the towel.
Yeah.
We'll just call them the towels.
They're like devil bat birds. They look cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's a brief moment where they think that the towels were eaten by this race, but no, then all of a sudden, I think they are the towel.
Oh my god.
Wow. And throughout this entire time, there's like this Native American music playing in the background. It's which kind of like hammers in the concept that they're this alien native race that is very like profound, but they don't talk. They just like kind of mime everything.
Yeah, all vaguely.
Yeah. So basically they tell him to like put his hand up to the moon, and that is supposed to, and this is really weird. It's like he puts his hand up to the moon, and I guess his bones are restructuring or something.
Or like it's responding to his DNA specifically, so maybe it's like,
but it's like moving. It's like this thing moves, and I'm wondering, it's like, how can you see that with, I mean, look, I'm making way too much. I'm trying way too hard to make this logical, but at the same time, it's like I can't help but think about that. I think of all these bones in the hand, and they're just kind of like rearranging, like when he puts his hand up to
the like ticking around.
Yeah, and it's just like
oh god. I think it's probably supposed to be like a holographic like light.
I'm sure
projection thing.
I'm sure it
shit.
is. Like I'm just honestly poking fun at this thing, but yeah, I mean that's basically the second point. They're saying like, okay, now we need to go here.
Yes.
And then they're attacked by the dredge again, and this helpful alien race, who are willing to die to save these humans from certain death. I mean, there are tons of them that just like all out explode.
Yeah.
While this entire chase scene is happening.
They were nice.
Yeah, they were very nice. I'm so glad the Towel were there to sacrifice themselves for us.
Yes, so we could have our new planet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what then? Oh, then I think Kale and Akima get kidnapped by the dredge, and they go to Blue Land.
They're up at the dredge ship, and yeah. So yeah, so I guess they're like made of this energy and something, and everything is kind of like electrical based.
Mm.
And so for some reason they figure out like his hand is the map. They make a projection. Now they know where the Titan is, or we're to assume that they know where the Titan is. Or
well, they get the map, but they don't have like the full like. You know,
yeah, they basically keep Kale around, and then they jettison Akima out into space
to a slave trade.
To a slave trader, a slave trade ship, which is immediate. It's like it's not even like a blink of an eye.
Poof, she's there.
Yeah, now she's there, and also the captain and the rest of the crew know where she is.
Yeah.
It's like. Did they keep a tracking device on her or something? I don't...
They're just like, we just got to go to the Sub-Odi archipelago and rescue the mermaid.
It was so coincidental, honestly. It just felt like, okay, all of a sudden she's on a slave trade ship. Now this scene where we have to save her by pretending we're slave traders and everything.
I did like the smart guard. Smart guard was cool.
No. This scene was pretty generally hilarious.
Yeah.
It was very well done. I mean, Nathan Lane is like, he's a very good actor. You know, he's...
Stop quivering, worm!
And he kicks the captain, who like looks at him like, oh, you freaking... And then the guard is like, you're lying. You're not a traitor, and he's not a slave. And then he like goes on to say like, you know, what the original procedure is.
He just completely like breaks down their entire like facade.
It's hilarious. I actually like that scene.
Yeah, and they just beat the crap out of him.
Yeah, they just beat the crap out of him, and he says like, a smart god, didn't see that one coming, and then they walk off. But like immediately then it's like they save her, and that's all there is to it. I mean, really, there's no other explanation to it other than the fact that, like, okay, they saved her, now that's it.
Oh wait, no, here's another good one. So then we cut back to Kale in the Blue Land prison on the mothership.
Yeah.
And he's just like, oh, when I smash things, they glow and make a little electric sparks. If I put my finger up again, I can't even buy this nonsense.
This was hilarious. Like this was another scene where I'm just like, oh, come on. Like there was absolutely no security in that entire thing.
So he doesn't. So let's retrace something real quick. So Kale doesn't think in all 15 years of his life to technically fiddle around with his magical plot device ring that holds the key to the map of the blah blah blah, and he does think, where no other person, I guess, ever captured, as far as we know, by the blue people, put their finger up against the jail cell to make it. One finger here and one finger against the other thing,
and then when you put it together,
slowly move them together, and you can just slip out. It's like an episode of Steven Universe.
Then it makes a hole. Yeah.
It's like, how do you? What? Oh, yeah,
that scene was hilarious.
God almighty.
I was like, I remember laughing out loud. I was like, well, how did that happen? Electricity doesn't work that way.
By the way,
here's what's great about that scene. It's like the first time that he actually does it, he's sent back flying through that entire jail cell. It's like the first time he tried it, he got shocked to all hell.
Yeah.
But then the second time, he actually figured it out and he's okay.
I got to point out something too, because this is relevant. So I just did this vlog on my YouTube channel like within the last week of this podcast going up.
And, oh, hey, do you have a vlog?
I do, yes. But I did. The reason I'm not like plugging myself here, I'm going to do that later. But I specifically talked about how in Pixar movies, when they build universes like full, with their own races and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They don't always explain absolutely everything because the story is more at the forefront, and they really get you to just focus entirely on the story and the characters and not be racking your brain over, well, how is it that the toys are alive, or how is it that the emotions have a whole universe and everybody's like that stuff.
I mean, that goes with the whole suspension of disbelief thing.
Sure.
It's like, you understand that this is an imaginary world.
Yeah.
And,
but with Titan AE, it's like, sure, like I can, even though I like my lack of like major investment into stuff like Star Wars and Star Trek is like I can't keep track of like
they
the
go
universe.
with a lot of Deus Ex Machina here. It's it's like
there's so many things that they establish, like this is how this thing is, this is how this character is, this is how this works. And then they just break it with like all this amount of logic that's just like bent. It's like, guys, I'm sorry, you can't like keep me on board with that so many times in a row.
It was a very okay. Look, I can understand that is something that would happen. However, this is like a really advanced alien race that hates humans, and they destroyed Earth. Yet they can't keep someone in jail because they have 2 fingers.
And why wouldn't they have been going around like? Well, I guess they did go around trying to kill the.
Maybe that's why they wanted to kill him. What? Maybe that's why they wanted to kill the humans, because they knew that they could take their fingers and just kind of like
and just
spread them apart,
and
turn them into holes or something.
Wow. Okay, this is going into a weird territory, Andrew. I don't know if I like this. I'm sorry. Rated PG. What is this rated PG? Because there was blood in this movie.
It is. Yeah, okay. There actually is.
There was blood. It was hardcore.
There is quite a bit of violence in this movie, and
I'm surprised it didn't slip a dam or a hell in there.
No, it's PG. It's PG. Yeah. There's no strong language, but I mean, Don Bluth was very good at keeping things a little bit more grounded.
Yeah.
In terms of characters will bleed. Characters will get hurt, and you have to kind of show when they're hurt.
I want to see you bleed. Welcome to the Titan. Sorry.
Oh God, we haven't even gone through the soundtrack.
The soundtrack was so okay. Like, I get it because no, I really do, because I know that this is probably also part of, or maybe you might even know more about this. Is this how some of these movies get funded because they really because I have wondered do they have cross record deals or something? I don't know.
Well, for what I know, I know that when a lot of animated movies came out, they already had a soundtrack and a person who would make their hit single at the time.
Right.
They had what's his name? Colin.
Phil Collins.
Phil Collins.
For Tarzan.
Yeah, Phil Collins. I think he was contracted to do 3 movies.
Wow.
And one of them was Emperor's New Groove.
Really?
Yeah, and
maybe
when
it was Emperor of the Sun.
Well, it's
whatever.
When it was Emperor of the Sun, it's he was contracted to make a song for it, and I could be wrong. Write in if my memory is not very good with this, but I just remember someone telling me that that Funny Friend and Me song that was in the credits was because of a contract deal, and because they changed everything about Emperor's New Groove from Emperor of the Sun. They couldn't fit that in, but they still had to use the song. So it's well, let's just we'll have it in the soundtrack, and then we'll put it in the credits, and that'll be it. We'll make a music video or something.
And then they'll splice in some footage from the movie.
But then there was 2 other movies where it's he had to make music for it, and it's that was that was contractual. I can understand.
Because I also
but for a lot of these other movies that have a soundtrack with different bands, I don't even know any of these bands.
I know Creed did some stuff on
Creed,
this one.
okay.
Yeah. I don't know who the other ones were or care.
One of the aliens' names is Preed.
Oh well. Preed and Creed.
Preed and Creed.
Creed. Po Creed's tonight.
Wait. Were all these? Maybe all the characters are
references.
I need to look.
Oh god, that would actually be too clever for this movie.
I would need to look that up, but that would be hilarious.
Well, the other reason I ask is like I remember the two distinct ones I think about all the time are like that Wreck-It Ralph scene with like the "Shut Up and Drive," where I'm like, what is this doing in here, you know? And then also from what Ruocco used to tell me when the Bone movie almost happened with Nickelodeon, and they wanted to shoehorn in like a Britney Spears song or something like that.
I can't remember who. I remember him talking about that too, but when he gets back, I'll question about that.
Yeah, well, because the reason I ask is because I learned recently from a friend of mine at Fox about like how much money it costs to get to license music for like for different things in shows and stuff. But I wonder about like when like because Fox has like a music division or whatever, I think, don't they? So like I wonder like is there some kind of like cross promotional, okay, Creed is really big right now and the kids love it, so let's put all the music in here and blah blah blah. And
because like with some things like Shrek, it's like they had music that was fitting to the mood of everything. I don't know if these particular songs were already made and they just tried to shoehorn them in there somewhere.
I mean they fit,
or
they
if they
fit
were
the
made
whole
for
like
the movie.
I'm a rebel. Blah, 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 blah,
Yeah, they
thing.
really is like it's my
turn to fly, which just became every time a song happened, we just turned it into that, or I turned it in. Can you take me higher?
Yeah, the first song is like Space Castaway or something. I think that was this, and then
when he's like playing with the junk. The
yeah,
space junk.
and then the second song it was something related to going somewhere. It was just one of those things where it's like it was fitting to what was happening.
It was when he wakes up and Akima's looking at him as the woman singing.
Yeah, it was actually Wake Up or something. It was like wait. The song was like Wake Up, Waking Up, and then there was like
something about the saving the human race. I don't remember.
Yeah, and there was also gosh, I'm blanking out here.
You're having the this movie is really forgettable syndrome right now, Andrew. What happened next? I don't know. There was
like some sort of R&B song in the middle of there that was just kind of like there for 5 seconds, and that was it.
Oh,
but
I don't remember that one. Oh no! There was like a mariachi or like a Spanish song when he was when Preed. Oh, when they were on the bird people planet.
Yeah.
And Preed was just like, I'm going to shoot this grasshopper just to show to you that I'm an asshole. It's like, great.
Yeah,
and then meanwhile, Gune was inside like listening to the music.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was supposed to be like a throwback to Leguizamo or something. I'm like, geez, guys.
Yeah. Well. Anyway, I mean, the music is kind of like all over the place in here, and it doesn't really add to anything. It's just there to these scenes where it's just like, this is really epic music happening.
My turn to fly.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I guess that's next, because afterward, Matt Damon escapes. He manages to reunite with the crew.
Yes, they reunite. I didn't say how. It's like I guess he hijacked a dredge ship, and then he he button presses and sends like Morse code to them. Like he's brilliant, only in certain parts,
but not to figure out that goddamn ring. Just somehow
and other things, honestly.
Yeah.
Anyway, they meet up, and there is this moment where he is with the captain, and they're talking about, it's like, oh, your father was really something special, and blah blah blah. This Titan project was something that there was a deleted scene that we watched on the DVD where it actually explains a lot more to why the Dredge hate the humans and why this whole thing happened.
Specifically, why the Titan is important for like saving humanity.
Oh God, yes, that was like. Why didn't they keep that in?
Because I know that obviously the twist of like how it works and like that it creates a planet. Like,
but that's not an obvious twist. It's it's an obvious twist. If they wanted to keep it out of there, so if they wanted to keep this scene out so people would realize, oh, at the end this is an Earth thing. No, they figured that out in the beginning of this. I
don't think it was that necessarily. I think the fact that the way that the Titan will save humanity is that it creates a planet. I understand that they wanted to save that as a surprise for the end. And the problem was that they just talk about the Titan is really important and it's a thing that we got to go find. And I'm just like, what?
But it's this whole thing that really makes me question what the hell is the motivation of the dredge. There's even a moment where Kale is with Akima, and they're saying like they're not afraid of what we are, they're afraid of what we might do.
Yeah.
There is nothing that they can do against this energy race. Like what is like they basically wanted to just kill the humans because they thought they were a threat. And what kind of threat could they honestly impose? Did they really? There was no like thought that the human race was going out after these things. And it's like this is a race of huge paranoia. You know, and it's like, it's not really that believable to me.
Yeah.
I feel like there could have been a moment where they feel like maybe there was a weapon that the humans made, like that they thought would be like this entire destruction, but maybe that would have made the humans like way too unlikable or something.
Well,
I have no idea.
well-
It feels like...
Okay. Here's the thing. So, because this is gonna tie in with what happens later. So after we have the stupid
Oh, God.
I want my turn to fly.
They had this moment. and
It's like a little bonding experience between the two of them. It's like, okay, cool.
It was a very... It made like the captain very likable, and it also showed that Kale was, turning around. He was actually feeling like, maybe I shouldn't be thinking about this in a way where it would benefit me, but it would benefit the entire world. And that was something that the captain was even saying.
Yeah. And like...
And almost immediately, we get a complete 180 from this captain, where they find out that he's talking to the dredge in secret about how he wants to get rich, and he wanted... The dredge are like working with him or something, or he's working with the dredge.
They hired him to like find it, but clearly he's not high priority, because when they got the map from Kale themselves in the earlier scene, they're just like, oh, screw it, whatever, we can just do it ourselves. And he's like, oh, how dare you? I want my money. Brr, brr, brr.
His motivation is completely screwed at this point, because I can believe that a bunch of humans would are drifting out in space, and they really want this new Earth to save the human race from this alien race that wants them all dead. And then they have one guy that is working with them just to get rich? What the hell?
It's another point I want to revisit when we get to the end, but yeah.
He is either the most scummy person on the entire universe, or they just did not know what to do at this point. They needed some sort of person in the ship that would suddenly become turncoat. And it ends up there's like 2 turncoats in that entire thing.
Yeah.
But that's like...
Well, it's established by that point that Preed is also working with them, because he
also wants to be rich.
Yeah, and they cast out Kale and Akima because they learn. They're just like, what? No, but we want to do the good thing. And he's just like, yeah, well, money.
Also, how is he going to get rich? How does the dredge have all the money in the world?
They got 1 million space bucks. But
it's the stupidest motivation I have ever heard from a villain, and it comes completely out of nowhere, because this guy who just moments ago was very likable and also helping the characters, and he was also saying he wants to do this for humanity. Now he doesn't.
Now he's just like, I'm an asshole, and I'm also going to be mean
almost a second.
I'm going to also be mean to Gune and Stith, who have no idea what's going on, or just like, oh, okay, I guess he's going to be really abusive and mean and insulting now, but okay, we'll follow you to the end of the earth, Captain Douchebag.
The other characters are as confused as we are when we see this, because he is his entire personality just completely changed. He is now a ruthless, heartless person that just wants to do whatever. He doesn't even give a good explanation as to why Akima and Kale are no longer there. He just says
they left because They were afraid to find out when they disobey my orders. Oh, okay, Captain. Oh, I'm an angaroo who could just break you in half, but I'm gonna be really like all submissive now.
They don't even question the fact that he just brain bashed Gune in the face, like in the head. And he just seems fine with that. In the next scene, he's just like he's following orders again.
How many people you think laughed at that, being like, "Oh, thank you for hitting Gune. I hated them." God Almighty.
Thank you. Yes, Gune is down, but he's not down. He's Earth.
So I'm trying to speed through the rest of the crap because there's
so much more.
The climax is where I want to give a lot of points, but
yeah.
They go to like a human colony that's made up of like
this
random mumbo jumbo.
This is the moment where it's supposed to be like Kale realizes he should do this for the sake of humanity. And
meets other kids and some nice people.
Now they're like stranded, but they figures like, oh, we got a ship, and there's like a ship that is connected to this drifter colony.
Yeah.
That's a drifter colony.
Inexplicably.
Oh, here's another thing. Okay, they make a point to say that Akima was born in a drifter colony. That means she was born after everyone left Earth. So okay, I did the math here. Kale was 4 at the time Earth was destroyed. So 15 years later, he is now 19.
Yeah.
Akima was born after Earth was destroyed. She is 15 years old.
Okay.
She does not at all look like a 15-year-old.
I mean, I don't know. I've seen enough anime to buy anything. I mean, well also here's the other thing too is do we know if Kale was 4 years old in the beginning?
Yes, they make a point of that. They say that he was 4 years old.
Huh, weird. Well, I mean, no, because I also remember her saying that I don't remember much of Earth.
No. She said that she was born and raised in a drifter colony, and she got all the information from the older ones would talk about tales of Earth.
Okay.
And these are the things that remind us of Earth and everything.
I mean, I guess it's possible that there could have been colonies, because like if they were already interacting with aliens.
Maybe she was younger.
Well, no, but she might have been younger than Kale, but not by that much, is what I'm saying. Like I don't, because if there were colonies like out in space already, for instance, because if they were already interacting with the aliens, because Tech was on the planet in the beginning, like.
But he was also raised in a drifter colony, so why is he calling everyone a drifter colony bum?
Well, I mean, because he was born on Earth.
Just because maybe they were just trying to hammer on the fact that he was a jerk.
I'm white privileged because I was born on Earth and you weren't. So mad. It's like, geez, dude.
Yeah.
So
well, anyway, they make a ship, and by the way, this drifter colony is just like a magnet for all these other ships.
I swear I saw the Death Star and that little checker ball wrecking ball thing that Robotnik uses in Sonic 1. I'm not.
Yeah,
even
that
joking.
was like in plain view. The Death Star, I could see that. But it was like just this collection of crap that was all together, and I was like, what the hell is this? But anyway, I guess that's to explain that they find a new ship and they start going off into this ice ring area.
So the dredge, the guys on the Valkyrie, and then their new ship.
They're basically all in this same area by the end, and this is like this scene drags on.
It's a long scene, yeah.
This scene
there's
drags
a whole
on.
Original cut. We're looking at the deleted scenes on the screen right now, and Ice Crystal's original cut was an entire sequence that was like in here.
Yeah, and I'm sure that went on for even longer because this one goes on for a while.
It looks kind of cool.
It does. No. Look, I think I know why they did it, because it was cool looking, and the mirror effects of the ships against the ice, and the ice is cracking together. It's like, but man, it goes on and on. It made me want to turn it off at this point. But anyway,
it's why we didn't watch the extended version of it.
Yes, exactly. But anyway, they go to this. It's surrounded by ice, basically, this Titan. So they Kale and Akima are the first ones to enter, and then later on, it's Drek and whatever his name is, the
Captain What's
Bill
his
Pullman
face,
character.
Captain What's His Face and Preed and all them come in.
So basically, this is where things kind of this is where things fall apart.
Yeah.
And
they try to kill the other two.
They try to kill the other two by leaving them behind, but of course, Gune finds out too soon, and he. Basically in time, he throws away this bomb that explodes, and they're like knocked out unconscious.
Yep.
So anyway, they basically at this point they point out like, oh look, all the DNA from all the creatures of Earth, these are all animals, and this is basically a machine that can make a new planet. They basically have a hadron collider. And what it is like there's like there's like a hologram from his dad that says like, Kale, if you're reading this, I have died before this project has gone through.
Before I could find
you. And then it's up to you to find a power source to start up this ship. And then from there, everything is... And then he's cut off by the captain. He's like, he always did talk too much. It's like, God... Can you hammer in any more that this guy is evil? It got to all right.
But then,
oh
no.
Then now Preed double crosses the captain.
He pulls a Neo mutant, and he double crosses.
But okay, they said like, okay, what are the Dredge giving you now to mutiny against us? It's like he. Of course, I want to get rich, but I have the health plant. So wait, I don't understand. So he is the... It does not make any sense.
It does, but they don't fully explain it. I do get this now. It was the fact that the captain guy is a human.
Oh.
Even though the Dredge were working with them, they knew full well it's like, we're going to kill you eventually, too, because we don't trust you because you're a human.
Yeah, okay.
And Preed, because they just have that vendetta that isn't fully explained. So Preed is like, well, I'm not a human. And so he probably had a private conversation with Captain Blue Guy on the other guys.
Yeah, but the captain was like, his motivations are screwed over, too, because why would he trust the Dredge to give him money when he fully knows well that they hate the humans and they want to kill them?
Because clearly what they
this
were
is stupid.
what they were trying to illustrate was
I'm getting more angry about this movie.
Please, it's all completely warranted. I think what they were trying to go for was like, okay, he's a bitter old man and he's lost hope and all this is like, you know, he used maybe he used to believe in what the dad was saying and everything. Maybe he wanted to do this for a while, but now he just is like, you know what? Because he says like,
he's
whatever.
All cynical and everything.
Yeah, he's all cynical. He just wants money and to live in comfort for the rest of the days that he has left, etc.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which was Kale's original motivation. So it's like, it's funny. It's like they switched the character motivations, which I think they thought was clever, but it really does not honestly make any logical sense.
Except then the captain switches again as he breaks Preed's neck.
Oh my God!
Which
that
was the best part of the movie.
That was a gruesome scene.
Basil tongue hangs out.
Yeah, my God. Yeah. I mean, like, I've never seen like on screen a death like that, like a neck break.
Full on.
Like animated like that. But hey, there you go.
Yeah.
But anyway, like, okay, they're knocked over. They have this fight.
And then the Dredge show up and Gordon Freeman's brother. So now it's like, oh crap, the Dredge are going to come in. They're going to blow up the Titan. What do? We need energy. We know the Dredge are made of energy.
Yeah.
So let's make their giant laser blast power the thing, and we'll do it. So then they race against time to blah blah blah, and they work together.
Yeah. We skipped the part where the captain was like, okay, they were hanging off the edge of this ledge.
Yeah.
And Kale,
never mind, I'm good again. You can let me die. I deserve
it. Listen, I wouldn't blame you if you let go. And he's like, I'm not gonna let you go. And I guess at that moment clicked. He's like, oh my gosh, I am being a douche.
Oh no.
So anyway, but he still slips away, but he's alive, and he shows up later to help whatever the hell they needed to do, which was connect this one electrical plug together, which was like, I guess, stuck.
It was malfunctioning.
It was
just so happened to be the one.
Okay, so anyway, there's this whole thing where they're, you know, big action scene, shooting Dredge all over the place, and they're racing against time, and the Corso, the Bill Pullman character, he basically saves the day by hooking up his gun to the two sides of that plug that was not connecting.
Yep.
And he's basically there, and he's being shot to death. We don't really see him die.
But he does.
Well, yeah, but his mangled corpse is somewhere in between those gears at some point.
Gross.
But yeah, so yeah, no, he saves the day. They start up the machine. The laser
backfires
and
kills
destroys
all
them.
the thing,
Destroys the dredge, which
Yeah.
is like, well, oh, hey, I guess all of our fears were true. The humans were going to destroy us.
Yep. Okay, can I now that we're here?
Okay.
All right. So
Yeah.
I have two big things, but I've been saving. I've been charging my energy for this.
Okay.
So the first thing about the dredge, I think it is fine to have in movies in general, animated or otherwise, a overall like threat, like whether it's a villain or just some kind of force or whatever that is not at the forefront. I think that it's fine that they went with they were very minimalistic. They didn't really talk a whole lot. Only the commander of the blue dredge people
It was Queen, by the way.
was the queen. Sorry, was
voiced by a guy. Is actually
supposedly.
I don't remember the name, but yeah, I just remember seeing that.
Yeah. So I think that the idea of because it's more about the six main guys, two of which are going to turn out to be the actual antagonist that you have connections to and are seeing. It's like, okay, I can totally buy that because it's about the development between all of them. But it's one thing that it's like, okay, they kept the whole, why do the dredge hate the humans? Oh my god, what's the big deal with them? Why do they this and that? That's one thing. The captain, on the other hand, okay, if there's one key thing that if they did this, I feel like it would have not saved the movie, but it definitely would have made him into a stronger, more sensible character.
Yeah.
The scene where earlier when Kale and Alexis
Akima.
Alexis. They overhear the conversation.
Yes.
Preet is the one who was like, I am full on, I'm a piece of crap. I'm the one who's gonna get my due diligence.
Oh yeah.
But the captain could have been conflicted. He could have, because in that part he's like, you told me this and that, and then he's mean to the guys, right? Yeah. If he was talking to the queen and he was like, oh, look, I'm.
Oh yeah, that would have been neat if he had a moment where it's like, God, what am I doing?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
yeah.
If they executed him better to where he wasn't being a jerk.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they were just too you have to believe that he's a bad guy now, even though he's gonna be a good guy again in 15 minutes.
There was a moment even right afterwards where he was having a speech where it's like, because humans are finished, they're circling the drain, and we gotta be the strongest of the strong. And it's
yeah, if they had made him genuine, because especially the fact that he is an older character and has seen a lot of, and he's bitter and cynical.
Yeah.
Of course, I could buy that, especially if he was yeah, God, what am I doing? Is this the right thing? I don't know.
That would have been a neat moment.
Because then not only would that have made more sense and still been in line with what he's all about.
Yeah.
Then when the turn happens, and then also when Pre double crosses them, and then he's like, all right, you know what? Fine, this is crazy, but and then that's the other thing too. He could have been like, you guys are crazy to actually believe all the nonsense that I was quoting from your dad, but you know what? This is the last shot that we have. Why not? Yeah. Those pieces would have fallen together a little bit better, and that climax would have been like, you know what? This is okay.
Impact.
Yeah, much bigger.
It would have made a bigger impact. It would not leave me questioning all of the characters' motivations at this point, because it just seems so out of place and so out of character.
Yeah.
Especially it's a complete 180. Okay, so anyway, this Titan thing, now that it's super powered, it basically creates a black hole, which creates a planet in a couple minutes, a couple seconds, and already there is rain and plants growing on an Earth. Okay, Earth takes about millions of years to develop, I would assume.
Yep.
This one took just an hour. I mean, in movie time. Because they immediately go down to Earth and they say it's wow, this looks beautiful. It looks like a piece of crap, by the way, because it's all dark and rainy and
it looked like something out of like a later season reboot.
Yeah.
It did. Mm-hmm. Ironically, as they make the joke of, let's call it Planet Bob. shut up.
I actually remember in the theater that got a general laugh. It is pretty funny as a final thing. It's like, haha, the main character is doing a joke. It's like, he made a funny, ha ha ha.
I am not calling it that.
Oh yeah,
I do at least give them credit
that
for
romantic,
not, yeah,
that romantic.
that just shoehorned in.
They're basically Adam and Eve now. So.
Yep.
I guess.
Good for them.
But all the colonies are now going to Earth, and they say it's like 3026 AD, 16 after Earth, and they call it Planet Earth 2, Bob. and that ends that ends the movie, and you know,
a lot of cool ideas. A lot of really cool ideas.
Okay, look, at the time, it's like movies like this, where it was very high concept in its science fiction. I would say that it's pretty up there. You know, I mean, I like movies that can really draw attention out of doing something that would require a little bit more of a universe to be created, and it's an idea. It's like, what if Earth died, and what if we had to make another Earth? You know,
yeah.
And that's science fiction. That's what movie is supposed to do. It's supposed to basically make an imaginary thing possible or plausible. For this one, it's like the story just lost me in so many places because the characters weren't developed enough, or they changed.
Yeah.
It was just. There were so many conflicting elements to it that it just did not make me believe in these characters, that their motivations were just like completely flawed.
They had like a pretty all right layout of how, you know, the order of events and everything. Mm-hmm. They had a great concept. Yeah. They had a lot of really cool ideas.
Yeah.
A pretty neat looking world. I feel like there were some really key things with motivation, with character motivation.
Yeah.
That
it was space punk. That a good way to call this movie would be like space punk. You know, like there's a steampunk and everything. This is like a space punk sort of scenario in which, kind of like Mad Max, you know, where this is this apocalyptic world, and now everyone's drifting off out in space, and they have to work in these colonies that are just kind of like these floating metal pieces, and you know. It's believable. It's honestly believable. Like, I can believe these people are living out in space and they're trying to survive and, you know, hoping for a new Earth. So in that regard, I will give this movie that credit.
I give Bluth and his team a lot of credit for, like, this was very ambitious. It's a shame that this was the last Bluth animation film project.
Well, yeah, it shut down the studio.
Yeah, I mean, because I think that, like, at the very least, it could have been a great, like, training ground for, okay, we're gonna do maybe more stuff like this, mm-hmm. or like if just those couple key elements about the main characters' motivations mm-hmm. had been tweaked around a little bit, and you know they probably were. I know that scripts go through dozens of drafts, Morty, and you know it could have been something like really solid, but like it just fell short because of those holes in there. So. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all right. Well, that's about wraps up Titan AE, and I think it pretty much sums up what we thought about it. Yeah. And if you have anything to add, you please feel free to email me or message me. My email is awd300@gmail.com. Please, we would like to really talk a little bit more about the movies and what other people thought, and maybe like, you know, just read them out during a podcast or something like that.
Sure.
So, Chris, please, is there anything that you would like to shout out to? Anything you'd like to plug?
Well, first of all, shout outs to Bobby the puppy, who's joining us right now, sitting over there all adorably. No, really, he's great. I love him, and all your animal friends in here. You can check out my stuff. I do animation. I just finished up a series called Tome: Terrain of Magical Expertise. And I do vlogs twice a week, and I'm doing a lot of behind the scenes, like blooper reels and stuff for my show. And if you want to check out my stuff, I have a whole bunch of things on my YouTube channel, which is Kirbopher15. I'm sure Andrew will have links somewhere, and if in show notes or wherever I don't know where you host them. And then also you can follow me on Twitter, which is just @Kirbopher. It's Kirbopher. And then the YouTube channel is that with the number 15 at the end because I made it when I was 15. Sorry. And yeah, and I'll be sure to plug all this stuff on my social media as well, so more people will listen to Animation Anarchy. So, yeah, thank you for having me. This was fun.
Yeah, no, thanks for coming by. You were a great guest, and I hope this movie didn't hurt you too much.
No,
we could have had something better, but honestly,
well, next time if I come back for another episode, which I hope I will, we'll watch a good animated movie, a really solid one.
And again, if you would like to follow me and Mike Ruocco, we are at AWD Twit and at A Guy Who Draws on Twitter, and you can find us on animatedanarchy.podbean.com, and you can also please look us up on iTunes and subscribe, and also subscribe to us on Stitcher. These are two really great ways to listen to podcasts and to subscribe, and to whenever we have a new episode, they'll show up automatically on your feed, and you can listen to them whenever at your leisure. And also, please give us a good rating if you liked the show, and it would help us immensely if you can get the word out, and also give us a 5-star rating, and also review us, because it really does help spread the podcast a little bit more, and it'll show up more on like iTunes suggestions and stuff like that, and Stitcher as well. So please, thank you for joining us. I really appreciate you hanging around and listening to us talk about Don Bluth's last. Oh, poor Don Bluth.
Can I ask
his last animated movie?
What is Don Bluth up to these days?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I know he's been like working on something, like maybe a Kickstarter or something. But
did he do a Kickstarter? I feel like he might have done something. Like
I feel like he's either has done something or is in the works of making one.
Okay.
But the last thing that I know he's done is like, I think he did like an Indian feature, for like, it was like a short actually. It was like the Tale of the Putu or something. It was like a bird. It's like, I really don't know
I'll have to look that up.
what the name it is, but it was made in 2009, and that was like the last thing that I know him doing.
Huh.
Other than that, it's like I just hear him visiting colleges once in a while.
Maybe Corey would know.
I'm
Corey,
sure, I'm sure he does. Well, he is the troll in Central Park.
Yes, he literally is the troll.
Yeah.
God.
So anyway, yes, please, our next movie. For next week, I'm going to be announcing what our next movie at the end of each podcast is going to be. Mike Ruocco is going to join us again. My original co-host from the beginning of this. We're going to be talking about the Disney feature Home on the Range. And if you have anything that you would like to say, or anything that you would like to discuss about it, or have a question about specific questions about what we thought about the movie, please email them to me, awd300@gmail.com. I will also put a link in the description to emails and everything else such as that. So feel free to listen to that next time. This is Animated Anarchy. I am Andrew Dickman. I was with Chris Niosi. Thank you so much for joining me, sir, and we will see you next time.